So picking a team of non-New South Welshmen, all the rest of Australia, Queensland, the ACT, Tasmania, Western Australia, combined side to take on New South Wales. Let's see which team is going to be stronger. Start with the loose head. There's only one choice, and that is the man, James Slipper from the Reds. He's pretty much an icon of Queensland rugby. After all those years, he's 28. He's from the GC, apparently. Didn't know that. But yeah, solid player. He's been there for so long. It's a pretty miserable night here in Auckland right now, and I kind of wish I was in the Gold Coast because I'm sure it's a lot nicer than what's going on here. But yeah, always been good around the park and kind of a player who's gotten better at the scrum over the years. So good one to keep in Australian rugby. I'm glad he stayed. Hooker. Another Reds player I'm going with, Alex Murphy. He's kind of a prospect. He's only 21, but he's looked good in what we've seen him. He's still kind of pushing for that starting spot, but definitely a lot of potential. He's not all that big, but he's got a bit of kind of X factor. Not quite maybe an X factor, but at least a bit of kind of punch to him anyway. So he's not like a Malcolm Marx X factor, but can't just compare everyone to Malcolm Marx. He's from Brisbane. Like I said, 21, so definitely going to have a bit of a high energy performance from him to go between the two senior guys. So the other one is Toby Smith. So he is from Kerwin up in Townsville, 29, plays for the Canes, so he's had a bit of a journeyman career by this point. Played a few games for the Wallabies, pretty versatile prop, solid, won't let you down kind of guy. So yeah, I hope the Hurricanes fans cut him a bit of slack once he comes back into the side this year. In the locks, I have gone for Staniforth from the Tars. So he's from Canberra, so our first non-Queenslander. He's a m98, which is not huge for a lock, but it's it's standard. He's 113 kilos. I thought it was going to be heavier than that, to be honest. He seems bulky, so I'm hoping he's that kind of, he's the lock who you give it to bust through the line. And there's no slouch next to him. You get Adam Coleman from the Rebels. So he's our one guy from Tasmania. 2.04 meters is kind of more what you're talking about in terms of lock, in terms of height anyway for a lock. 120 odd kilos. Plays for the Rebels, obviously. So, yeah, Staniforth and Coleman's a pretty sweet locking combo. I'm pretty happy with that as my type 5. I'll have to have a look at the New South Wales team at the end. They might have it, but definitely solid type 5. In the loosies, I'm going to go with Pete Samu from the Crusaders on the blind side. So he's from Melbourne. 26, kind of gets a bit underrated in the pack, which has just got so many kind of good players. Guys like Kieran Reid, Jordan Taufua, guys like that, Matt Todd. But Samu's a really good player. I kind of wish he'd move away from the Crusaders. No disrespect to the Crusaders. I mean, they attract top players because they're a top team. But I wish he was playing for a team where he would, get more regular starts anyway. Number 8. I have gone for only one choice really, Scott Higginbotham. So he is from Perth out in Western Australia. He's 31, plays for the Reds. He is a really skilled, one of the most skilled loose forwards Australia's seen for a while. He scores a lot of tries for a reason. He's just got really good hands. He's kind of Kieran Reid-esque in his style of play sometimes. So yeah, I mean, he probably doesn't get the props that he deserves over here in New Zealand because we like to focus on his more recent discipline issues. People in the comments have pointed out this season that the Reds haven't been winning the games that he's been playing in, and they won more when he was suspended. But yeah, still overall, he's a top quality player. So pretty happy to have him in the team. And number 7 is probably my own kind of quirky choice, Eddie Quirk, from the Sunwolves. So 26 from Brisbane. I've just always liked Eddie Quirk. I don't know why. Ever since he was playing for the Reds back in the day, I think I had him in my fantasy team, and he used to make lots of tackles. He still makes lots of tackles. He's not the best open side in the world, but yeah, apparently I've got a soft spot for him, and it's good that he's still playing Super Rugby. Obviously, it'd be better if he was in Australia, but yeah, he was playing at a time when there were just so many good, open sides in Australia. He was playing when there was still, Pocock and Hooper were still kind of battling it out. McMahon was coming onto the scene, and like Liam Gill was still there. So there were a lot of good loose forwards in Australia at that time. So yeah, I guess had to leave, but still, he's in my team. Remember, this team is only guys who are still playing Super Rugby and are born outside New South Wales, but from Australia. I forgot to mention that at the start. Number 9, I am going with Joe Powell from the Brumbies. So 23 and from Canberra. It's good that he's playing for his local club. Probably needs a haircut, but apart from that, he's a really good young halfback. He's quick and a good distributor. So he's played a few games for the Wallabies for a reason, and he's got potential to go places. So he is a pretty solid choice. But the ultimate solid choice, and when I say solid, I just mean like solid, not like Jono Lance is probably the opposite of Quade Cooper, isn't he? He's just like the most solid, reliable, but not razzle dazzle fly half. But that's who I'm going with. Yeah, so I think I had Foley up in my New South Wales team, so it's kind of a contrast. Although Foley's not been the Foley of old for a while. At least he's not been at those same dizzy heights that he was at for a wee while. And Jono Lance is just always there. So I think that would be an interesting matchup. In the midfield, he's got a double-barreled surname, so I'm just going with the latter. Jordan Jackson Hope. Now, this is a bit of a stretch, this one. He is, I don't know if he's played any games this season, but he's definitely a prospect-style player. He looks to have bags of potential. He's pretty versatile, plays a few different positions, including inside setter. So I've picked him to kind of go for that whole double distributor thing. So you got 2 playmakers in your team. England do it with Farrell at 12. So I've gone with Lance and Hope. You could probably switch them around if you wanted to. You could put Hope at 10 and Lance at 12. But yeah, I've gone this way around, and I think that would be an interesting combo. Jackson Hope, he's only 22. He's from Canberra, and playing for the Brumbies. But like I said, I don't know if I've seen him this season, to be fair. But definitely one for the future. Next, another kind of interesting pick. I've gone for Izzy Parisi. He's more of a winger, but he can play centre, and I think he adds a bit of needed gas, especially because Lance is not the fastest guy in the world. He's solid, but Parisi is just gas. So I think having him at 13 adds a real threat to this team. Other teams would definitely have to be on their toes when you got Izzy Parisi running at you. He's 20 from Brisbane, plays for the Reds. So very, very exciting young player. Left wing. Remember, Aussie wingers, I'm looking at guys born in Australia but outside New South Wales. A lot of the wingers in Australia are from like Fiji. So there's no Spates or Korobides or anybody here. So I've gone for Dargaville on the left wing. So he's definitely a versatile, kind of solid player. He's 25 from Southport on the Gold Coast. Plays for the Brumbies. He's big without being huge. He's not kind of intimidating. He's that kind of 6'2" with like 180, 85, 87 centimeters tall, 90 odd kilos, kind of. Yeah, just that middle of the range winger who's quick but not the fastest, big but not the biggest. Does everything well. So not that exciting. But still, he scores tries. He can tackle. He can run. So yeah, he's He's my pick on the left. Fullback, influenced by recent events, I've gone with Bryce Hegarty. I mean, if the guy can put Israel Folau out of a job at fullback, then yeah, sure, why not put Bryce Hegarty in? If you got Lance, Hope, and Hegarty in, you got lots of playmaking talent on this team. So they're going to be creative, if nothing else. They're gonna show us some moves, some kind of 6-set plays. That'd be pretty cool to see. From Brisbane, 25, playing for the Tars. Like I said, put Israel Folau out of a job. Either that or they just wanted to move Folau to the wing. But, Hegarty gets a start at 15 for the Tars. So let's try him in this rest of Australia team and see how he fits in with the rest of these guys. Lastly, I've gone with Tom Banks from the Brumbies. So kind of got another fullback here. So very versatile back three. But, Tom Banks is a very similar kind of build to James Dargaville. He's about the same height and about the same weight. He's about the same age and he's from Brisbane. So he's probably got a better boot on him maybe than Dargaville. But yeah, he's going to do the same stuff. He's going to run it. He's going to boot it. He's going to get you some tries if he gets into some space. So, yeah, that's my rest of Australia team. See if I can just bring up the New South Wales team to compare. So, when you look at the front row, Seo Fitzpatrick Kepo against Slipper Murphy Smith, you probably give that one to New South Wales, maybe. What do you reckon? Phillip and Carter against Staniforth and Coleman. I might lean towards Staniforth and Coleman, maybe, but Phillips looked pretty good this year. Back row, Samu, Higginbotham, Quirk against Fainga, Hooper and Smith. Different styles there. Very different. The rest of Australia ones are very traditional blind side, open side, and number 8, whereas I've kind of got 3 fetches there on the New South Wales team, so quite different. Powell against Phipps, it's kind of youth against experience. Lance against Foley. So, like I said, that's kind of your solid against your traditional playmaking 10. Beale and Hodge against Jackson Hope and Parisi is definitely a big matchup. I'm sure Parisi would gas Hodge. Beale's quick, but he's more of like acceleration quick more than out and out pace. So, yeah, interesting. You got to give Hodge the boot though for sure, and probably Beale and Jackson Hope are both kind of playmakers, so it would be a interesting head-to-head. Callaway, Folau, Maddox against Dargaville, Hegarty, Banks. Well, obviously, Folau's a really hard guy to compare against, but Dargaville and Banks. Maddox has looked good as well. Maybe Callaway's a weak link. He's not been setting the world alight for the Tars this season so far, so it's a hard one to say. What do you guys reckon? Which team wins it between these two? I think it'll be tight. I think it will be tight. Be an interesting matchup. Not quite the same as the whole state of origin thing they have with the rugby league over there, but still, if this was on TV, I would be watching. All right, guys. I will talk to you again for another one soon.